Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Nacelle Toys Star Trek The Next Generation Wave 1 Figure 1 Captain Edward Jellico. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top we've got a little peggy hook thingy, and it's pretty thin. I don't know if it would last long actually in a store, but I don't know. Star Trek! And it's got the Delta shield and some space and Star Trek right there, and Delta shield thing. And here we have the front. We've got Nacelle Toys, which is the first time I've picked up something from them. I was tempted by the Sectars, but I did pass. Nice big window here featuring the figure and his accessories. Star Trek and the Delta Shield logo. It's all got spacey background on it. Captain Edward Jellico, Star Trek The Next Generation. He's figure 001. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole if they don't belong there. On the bottom, don't give it to babies. Warning, don't stick it in your pie hole. Made in China print, Nacelle Toys print, StarTrek.com print, and CBS Studios print. And a barcode, don't forget that. Then on this side, Star Trek, and then a nice product shot of probably the prototype. Well, maybe not the prototype. Early production sample, Nacelle Toys. Same thing on this side. On the back, Star Trek. Captain Edward Jellico, figure 001, Star Trek The Next Generation. And there's his little spiel from the couple of episodes that he was in. If you want to pause it right here and read that, you're more than welcome to do so. Then under that, we've got the Wave 1 cross sale. This figure, Captain Edward Jellico, Captain Rachel Garrett, Tuvix, who can go suck a Leola root, Captain Hikaru Sulu, Valkyris, Mira Jonathan Archer, Wayoon, and Peter Preston. And, you know, all pretty much not main characters, except for Sulu. But as captain of the Excelsior, he had a pretty minor part in Star Trek 6. And Wayoon had a pretty big part in the latter half of Deep Space Nine. And of course, Jonathan Archer was all the way through Enterprise, however, not the mirror version of him. And even this character, Captain Edward Jellico, only in 2 episodes. But he was in a couple of books after that, too. And then Peter Preston, of course, Star Trek 2, and R.I.P., my friend. And there you have it, my friends. That is a look at the packaging. Well, let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And let's start off with the accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers to help us look at some of the smaller stuff. And we'll start off with the paintings that he had from his kid. These are all one piece, unfortunately. I would have liked for these to have been separate pieces. But, you know, they pretty much look like the quote-unquote artwork from the show. It's an elephant, I think. So, there's that. He also comes with this data pad. And all of the details on this are stickers. Now, I will say it does have some molded detail, like where the screen is, and then a sticker goes in that, and then it looks like there might be an indentation where the buttons stickers go, and then it feels like it's just flat on the back with this sticker on it. And it even says something on there, but I can't make it out. Oh, maybe it's just a little line. It's supposed to say something, but it doesn't. And you can see we've got some nice buttons on there. Got a nice space chart where he's bringing up, you know, a specific sector of space there. Very LCARS looking. But it's a little bit white for me. I always felt like these were more of a silvery gray kind of color. And then we have the book, Cardassian's Customs and Etiquette. So he still likes books like Jean-Luc, but, you know, not so much on the Shakespeare. So, but in his line of work, I guess, or his background maybe, that probably comes in very handy knowing that stuff. And then here we have his phaser, and it's the later seasons one, not the early one that was big, huge. What do they call that? The Cobra phaser, or was this one the Cobra phaser? I don't even remember. But nice molded details in there, nice paint apps too, really detailed paint apps when you think about it, especially when you compare it to the old Playmates line. And what, no beam coming out of the phaser? Come on. Nah, that's a good thing, I think. Then he comes with a bunch of sets of hands, and they're all on in and out hinges. So he comes with a couple of grip hands, a left and a right. Nice molded detail in there, and I can see these probably are going to get reused a lot. And then here's the other one. Then he has a set of trigger finger hands, which the phaser doesn't really have trigger on it. So, and in and out hinges, nice molded details. You can see in there, again, there's a left and a right. And then the final hands, which aren't a set, because he's got one fist on, which is the right fist. So this is the left fist, and again, in and out hinge. And it does have nice molded details. And then here is the right hand, opposite of the one that's on the figure on his left hand. This looks more like a phaser hand to me for Next Generation era, that is. And I keep bumping the camera, and I do apologize for that, my friends. But it is a Digital Caveman Presents review. And again, nice molded details in there. And finally, Captain Picard's lionfish, and the fish is in there. You can see him in there. He's right there. And, you know, there's no water in it, thank goodness. But it does have some nice molded details and some paint apps and stuff on the inside there of the fish bowl. And then that is enclosed in the globe here. And you can see the fish from either side. So that's really cool. It does not open up, so when they get around to making Barclay Protomorphosis Caveman Riker, he can't pull the top off and go fishing. So, but as Captain Jellico ordered in the episode, I'm gonna get the damn fish out of here. And finally, we'll take a look at the figure himself. And I have to say, I think they did a really good job on the likeness. And I will tell you, it doesn't show up as well on camera as it does in person. But the likeness is really, really good, I think. And the deco on is really, really good. I mean, look at those eyes. They're looking straight ahead. No drift to them. Nice paint for the eyebrows. And as far as I can tell, as far as I can tell, it's not inkjet, but I could be wrong, and they could be using a newer type of inkjet than I'm used to for the face deco, but I think it's paint. But again, I'm not going to swear to that, but it looks good. Nice little pop of color for the lips. There is some color on the face part of the head, but it doesn't go all the way up to the hairline, doesn't go all the way back to the ears and stuff. And I don't know how well that's showing up on here. Now let's talk about the hair. The sculpt is really, really good. You get around here to the back, and I don't know, this may be screen accurate, this black band at the bottom, but it just looks a little odd. It stands out from the rest of it. But again, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this episode, so that may be screen accurate, or it could be they just kind of missed getting all the way with the paint at the factory. And the hair seems to be, it is part of the head, and there's all kinds of little paint detail down in there. And again, I think this looks really good. I think is a great likeness to Ronnie Cox, and again, I think it actually looks better in person than what I'm seeing as I'm filming this, so there is that. Now we'll have to say it does have nice sculpt throughout. Basic, you know, Star Trek The Next Generation uniform. It has rank pips there, and those 4 pips are molded in, it looks like. The comm badge is molded in, so they'll have to redo this torso when they do some of the Generations guys. Of course, Captain Picard didn't wear this uniform. Yeah, he did. He did wear this uniform with the new comm badge in Generations at the beginning. That's right. Can't remember it all the time, my friends. And I'll just say, you know, I mean, it looks really good. Now let's take a look at his articulation. And the head, the neck is a separate piece from the torso, but it's glued in there, it looks like. There's no movement at the base of the neck. And the head is on a dumbbell, so he looks up that high, he looks down that far. He's got chicken neck, he's got waggle, and it kind of looks like the paint kind of makes it look like he's got black eyes the further away you get. And he can do the full exorcist. At the shoulder, he can raise his arm up that high, and that's really pushing it, guys. And then 360 degrees of rotation there at the shoulder. At the upper bicep, 360 degrees of rotation there. And I will say, it seems like the piece just doesn't fit on there as well as it should. It's a little gappy there. And then double hinged pinless elbow, and it gives you that much range, so that's really, really good. 360 degrees of rotation at the wrist, and again, it's on in and out hinge, and the fist on in and out hinge as well. Now, unfortunately, there's nothing in the torso, and I realize that would have broken the sculpt up some, but come on. So at the waist, it's hard to see it, but there is a cut at the waist that does give you 360 degrees of rotation. And I realize, you know, Starfleet guys don't need to be the most superposable guys ever, especially when you're talking about, you know, an older guy like this. He might not be as spry as, say, Willie Riker, but there it is. Now at the hips, he gives you that much of the splits, which is the full split. So he gives you the full splits, and that has no pull down hinge, and without, well, I won't say any, without much outswing, he can kick forward that far, so it's gonna be hard to get these guys in a sitting position. And then back, really none. His butt kind of gets in the way. There's a cut at the upper thigh for a full 360 degrees of rotation. And the knees, man, the knees are buttery smooth. double hinged, pinless, buttery smooth knees. It gives you that much bend. And then at the ankle, it's basically just a half dumbbell coming out of the leg that goes into the shoe or the foot, and it tilts down that far, which isn't a whole lot. It tilts up barely any at all. It does have rocker, so that's good. And there you have it, my friends. That's a look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Nacelle Toys Star Trek The Next Generation Wave 1 Figure 001 Captain Edward Jellico, with from the Four Horsemen Studios, the Mythic Legion's Legendary Barbarian, from Harbinger Studios, Savage Crucibles, Nashorn, the Disinherited, and from Mattel Creations, the Masters of the Universe Chronicles, King Grayskull. Here we have the Nacelle Toys Star Trek The Next Generation Wave 1's Figure 001 Captain Edward Jellico, with from the Four Horsemen Studios, Cosmic Legions, Altar Salovius. Also from Four Horsemen's Cosmic Legions, Zirian Spire. And from NECA, the E.T. Deluxe Ultimate E.T. the Extraterrestrial. For our last set of comparisons, here we have the Nacelle Toys Star Trek The Next Generation Wave 1 Figure 001 Captain Edward Jellico, with from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final ramblings on the Nacelle Toys Star Trek The Next Generation Wave 1 Figure 001 Captain Edward Jellico, I have to say, out of the first wave, this is the only one I really felt like I had to absolutely have. Now there's a few more in the wave that I may pick up and try out. Captain Sulu, Valkyris, Wayoon. The other one's not so much, really. I have to say, as far as this figure goes, it's a pretty good first entry for their first wave. Now, with that said, I am going to say there are some areas that need improvement as the line progresses. Now, again, as I said earlier, I realize, Starfleet officers probably don't need to be the most dynamically able to pose figures, except for your action guys like Will Riker and Ben Sisko and Odo. Of course, it's going to be hard to do an Odo figure if they get that far, and which I really hope that they do, because I'm impressed with this starting bunch of them. But again, like I said, there are some areas for improvement. They need some sort of torso articulation, whether it's a diaphragm hinge or it's the cut with the dumbbell in it at the upper chest. I don't know. And a pull down hinge at the hips really would help. Even though Jellico here will give you the full splits, the way that the figure is designed, because of the uniform and everything, I'm guessing, he will not get to a fully seated position without opening his legs. And I just don't see that, Starfleet guys, well, other than Will Riker straddling chairs, probably don't sit with their legs that far apart all the time. So, that kind of harkens back to the Playmates figures. They were all made with the V crotch, and so their legs went way out. So this one isn't as bad as that, and at least it does have thigh swivels in it. Of course, those did too. And when I say the Playmates one, I'm not talking about the more recent ones. I'm talking about the ones from the 90s. But there still feels like there's some of that in here. And I'm not criticizing to say I hate on this or anything like that. I'm saying it because I feel like to keep the line going, you need to Nacelle Toys needs to make some slight improvements. Because, I mean, honestly, in this day and age, with the amount of articulation this figure has in it, there's no excuse that it doesn't have some sort of torso articulation other than the twist at the waist. And the straight cut at the waist is fine for Starfleet. It works very well for this style of uniform. And I realize that an ab crunch or a chest cut or whatever you want to call it would break that sculpt up some. But I feel like it's a needed piece of articulation, especially in this day and age. Now, granted, nobody else is doing Star Trek figures at this price point at this time. So, that's the thing too. If you want Star Trek, do you have to just suck it up and accept what Nacelle has given us? And no, we don't. We have the right to speak up and say, hey, this needs this, this needs that. And I will say, what articulation is in there is pretty good. I would like to see a little bit more range in the shoulders. I would like to see a drop down hinge in the hips so that the legs will go more straight out than what they're able to do now. The knees were buttery smooth. There were some detents in the elbows, and I'm not complaining about that. That's all good. And the head sculpt and the deco on it, except for that black line at the back of the hair, and again, maybe that's screen accurate, it just looks funky on this figure, and you can see it here as it's coming around. And again, maybe that's just me, but for the most part, the deco is really good. And even though the pips got missed a little bit with the paint, I don't think it's bad looking. It's not. You have to get really up close to see. The comm badge looks really good. The overall sculpt looks really good. And I can't wait to see what else they're doing, especially with the TOS crew coming with sections of the bridge. What's the price point going to be on that? That's crazy. To have a section of the bridge come with the figure, and especially if they're planning on keeping it at the current price point. But I can't wrap my head around that. Maybe they're counting on if they keep it at that price point, they'll sell more units, which will offset the cost of the set piece. I don't know. And that's what's planned. They've done some prototypes of those and shown them off in some places, but who knows if the line is going to get that far. I do expect Wave 2 will be out, so I think it's in production now. But after that, I don't know. I mean, I do like this figure, and I hope it's indicative of what the line entails. I just wish, you know, pull down hinges at the hips and articulation in the torso of some kind, because these guys, they sit down a lot, and you know, we're getting set pieces, so eventually we're gonna get the you know, the big chair, and nobody's gonna be able to sit in it, so that's not gonna be great. But you know, again, overall, I do like this. I do think it's worth a pickup if you're a Star Trek fan, or if you're a Ronnie Cox fan. And again, you know, like the sculpt and the deco look pretty decent on this guy. You know, I don't have much complaints about it. The face deco, it looks a little weird the further away from it you get, but the closer up you get, the better it looks. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but again, overall, I like this. It's a pickup. I may pick up a few others out of Wave 1 just to see how they kind of compare to Captain Jellico here. And you know, I kind of expected to kind of get into the episodes he was in, and maybe I should stop right here. And if you don't want to hear that spiel, then, you know, thank you for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. But I really want to say, you know, Jellico, I think, gets a bad rap sometimes. And don't get me wrong, when I was a young man, when the episodes first aired, I was on the side of the Enterprise, you know, oh, no way, John Luke ain't coming back. And, you know, but yeah, they said it right there in the episode. They usually don't go through the ceremony if it's just a temporary thing. And Riker and the rest of the crew, you know, they should have kind of took their key from that and been a little more accommodating to their new captain, because they could have been stuck with him for a while. Now we all know on the TV show that we knew Patrick Stewart was coming back, and that Captain Jellico would only be there a short time, but the Enterprise crew didn't know that. And everything he wanted to try, they completely pushed back on. And it, you know, as I realized this as I got older and took on responsibilities at work and stuff like that, that, you know, Jellico was doing what he was doing because he understands how to deal with the Cardassians, whether it's across a negotiation table or across, you know, space and phasers and disruptors and all that good stuff, photon torpedoes, you know. And he was trying to get the Enterprise ready in case they had a possible skirmish with some Cardassians. And rather than get on board with that, the entire crew, you know, they kind of pushed back, except for maybe Data. He's just like, yeah, you can do it, get on it. And so I do think Jellico gets a bad rap. He was trying to do the job that the Starfleet Admiralty, the admirals put him there to do, which was get ready to fight Cardassians if it comes to war. So I've rambled on long enough now. That does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.